Hi there, how are you doing today? This is Anna Stropnik coming to you. Happy Friday. I think this is like a perfect subject for Friday, because who doesn't want to get out of that rat race and living our life basically waiting for Friday to get off of work and to live fully for those 2 days on a weekend and then all over again. So I will be sharing some tips on how to get yourself out of that rat race, all constant running for money and not money running for you. So I hope you like it. And so if this is the first time you're ever watching any of my videos, my name is Anna Stropnik. I help people get healthy, live longer, sleep better, have less pain, more energy, and I also help them reach their time and financial freedom. So let's see, who do we have on watching today? I know this is like a little bit of earlier time for me. Maybe we won't have that many viewers yet. But it's okay, you can always watch it on a replay, and please feel free to comment anyway. So my question for you is, actually this is going to be a really interesting question, is how do you take failure? So just ask yourself, how do you take failure? So let me just give you some examples. Like, do you take a failure as like you're scared of, you have a fear or doubts, and you just absolutely don't like it, or you take failure as just like one more try to success. So if you're doing that, you know, it's a lot of like what kind of beliefs you have, and it's going to affect on how to approach this, getting out of the rat race, and creating some like better future for yourself, because the reality is we all have to look at it that way. Because you think that you're going to be working for 40 hours for 40 years to retire on 40% of your money, it's really not looking that way. So many people nowadays are looking for side job, anything, like they're renting their homes, they're using their car to drive Uber, just anything to make a little bit of extra cushion, because they just see that the economy is changing. Like what they taught us in school is just not a reality. So let me just say one quote from Robert Kiyosaki. I was just listening to his book on this rainy day. There's nothing better to do than do like a little bit of self-development, and I chose to do it on finances, which is always exciting, right? Who doesn't want to learn about finances and how to create some extra wealth, so we don't really think about the lack of all the time and how we're going to be paying our bills and all over again and being in that rat race. So his quote is, losers avoid failure, and failures turn losers into winners. So quite interesting, right? So yeah, it just depends on how you take failure in life. It's going to determine how successful you're going to be. So it's almost like, I'm not calling like people losers, you probably understand that, but it's just like, in order to have a breakthrough, in order to like change your circumstances, to change your life, you have to take a failure as good, not as something bad and something to avoid. Okay, so what are some of those doubts? The doubts that you have, it could be something simple, that some people are just scared of success, just scared of like, what if I have it and lose it all or whatever. There's so many. We're going to cover a few of them later in this live. But so what are those like what ifs, right? So we often ask ourselves, so what if, I invest and things like don't go as planned? What if I invest and I lose it all? What if I invest and it doesn't work out? And then people would sometimes rather stay in the safe zone rather than taking a risk. So like, remember that first question that I asked you in how do you take failure? it's just depending on what your answer is there. You know, if you take failure, okay, and you know that it's leading you to success, you may take higher risks. If it's not you, if it scares you, you may want to take it differently. So either way, it's okay. So what I mean, for example, so you know, I'm in network marketing, and network marketing is a perfect opportunity to make some extra income on the side, that is like not really interfering with what you're currently doing. So you don't really have to like quit your job, lose it all, you know, and just like focus on that, because this is not get rich quick. So it would be stupid to do something like that. So what we really need to do is I mean, it's something that you can build over time, but you can definitely build it around your regular job, and you are slowly getting out of that rat race and really building your residual income, and really building that, like giving yourself more time freedom, giving yourself more financial freedom, where you don't have to like pick up that extra job, where you don't have to you know, like take time away from your family or whatever it is. It's slowly gonna get you there. So that's really like the point of this is you do not have to quit your job. You know, you can stay at your job and just build your time and financial freedom on the side, and many people do that, and it's a smart way to do it. So so that's that. And then but if you decide to stay in the safe zone, that you just want to avoid all the risks, you want to avoid all the failures at no cost, it's going to, like, basically life is going to pass you by. Nothing exciting is going to happen in your life if you don't take those risks. So like from Napoleon Rich, I don't know the exact quote, I didn't go back in the book, but basically how he is saying on, like, when you're deciding, when you make that decision to go out and do something, is do it, decide, take action and go and do it, but don't have a plan B, you know, don't like take it with reserve, just go full in, and that's the way to go. So like, don't go in, oh, you know, I'm gonna do this, but if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna have a plan B, and then it will like quickly take you into the safe zone, so you're not really going to like see all the opportunities and everything that is, if you like don't like just focus on that future and on that goal with no looking back. So you really don't want to be looking back at your old life if that's the decision you made. So so how do we like turn some of those beliefs? So before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about, because lots of us have like limiting beliefs that are keeping us from becoming successful, and that's about money. We often like are taught these things at a young age from our parents, in school, in church, on how money is bad, how money is the root of all evil. So there's so many different beliefs that are like just like really hammered in our heads, and it's really hard for us to change the way we think and feel about money. And unless we change that, we are not going to be able to create riches either. So let me just talk to you about a few. And what you want to do is, I mean, if you have a pen and paper, great. You know, you can just write down all of these thoughts, and just, you know, see which one is like really like on a scale 1 to 10, like, yeah, that's really like strong, or like 1 that is like weak, or whatever. So like when you know which limiting belief you really have to be working on when it comes to money, it's easy to just substitute that thought with something that is positive. So let's go. So let's say, for example, money grows on trees. So that's one that like we often hear, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, money grows on trees, whatever. So how strong, I mean, obviously that's not true, but in our subconscious mind is like we often like think like that, you know, you have to really work hard for your money. Then the next one, money is the root of all evil. People with money are just no good. Money is not that important. Money is there to be spent. So when we have that belief, guess what happens? We spend everything that we make. When we make more money, we spend more, and so on and so on. So that's another limiting belief. I'm just not good with money. And you're just projecting that you're never going to be good with money, and you're going to be spending it on like unimportant things. And it's a really belief that we need to get rid of. Also, my family has never been rich. That doesn't determine that you cannot create riches, and it doesn't matter how young or how old you are, you can always change your family tree, right? So you can be the rich or happy, or you can be rich or healthy. It's selfish to want lots of money. So just think about all of these that I just mentioned, and see how strong do you feel about which one triggers that emotion. So how do we turn those around? So first of all, like what we just did, this exercise, there's so many, but I just mentioned a few that are just linked to money, but we can have limiting beliefs with so many other things, like fear of success, fear of failure, fear of debt. So if we have those fears and doubts, it's most likely that we're going to be creating that in our lives sooner or later as well. So first thing you got to do is recognize them. So recognize which one is that alarming one that is really giving you a high number, and that's the one we really need to work on. Recognize the emotion that comes with it. So it could be any negative emotion, such as anger and jealousy and envy, and we often think of somebody rich and automatic, we think a bad emotion about that person, and we don't even know them, we don't know anything about them. And that's really if you ever want a success where you don't have to worry about money, it's important that we don't feel like that about anyone. So talking about and thinking about people who have created wealth, we should think of them with a gratitude, really with a gratitude, and I'm so happy and grateful that this person is so successful, because when you start talking and thinking that way, it's going to come back to you positively, so I promise. So try it, try it. Every time that thought comes in your mind when you talk about somebody super rich, and when you have that negative thought about that person, it could be a rich neighbor, or somebody who had all the circumstances that you did and they made it and you didn't, or whatever it is, whoever it is, try to just change that feeling and just be grateful, and if you practice it long enough, every time this thought comes in mind, it will be really worth it. So then there are techniques on how you can actually change, and there are so many techniques. I would love to share that with you, but we cannot do this during this video. But if you want to chat with me, just message me. I'll answer. I answer all of my messages personally, so I would love to chat with you about that. And then and just change the emotion, change the way you talk about it. So let's take a few examples. So money is not that important. So if you say money is not that important, it's not a big deal. Well, if it's not a big deal, you're not going to have any. So how do we change that? So this is the affirmation we want to be saying to ourselves. Money is one of my priorities in life. Why not? Money is one of my priorities in life. So every time you think of that, change it with something positive. Money is there to be spent. And then remember what I was saying before. When you say that, you'll spend every money, every little extra bonus, anything that raise, anything that you make, you will create a new need, and you will be spending, and you will never be able to save any money if you have that belief. So the money, change it to this: the money I don't spend makes me rich. So how powerful is that? So just think like that, the money that I don't spend makes me rich. So think of that bonus every time you get that, raise or whatever, extra commission, whatever it is. That money that you're not going to spend is going to make you rich. So put it aside, and change that thought. Let me see. Do I have another example? No, that's it. All right. So let's talk about something that is not so relevant to this, but it's just the way we take failure. So I guess it is, and this is like one of my favorite stories. So you all heard of Colonel Sanders, right? And the owner of Kentucky Fried Chicken. So he was dead broke and retired and lost all of his businesses and lost his daughter. His wife took his daughter, and he managed to convince her to take him back, and he just had real struggle. So when he retired, he just had no money. And so what did he do? Did he complain? No, he was like, well, let me see how I can change my situation, how I can make some money. And so he had a creative idea of what he knows how to do best, and it's basically cooking. So he created his or used his recipe for fried chicken, and he went around to all the fast food chain restaurants, knocked on every door. He went to 1,009 people, and they all told him no. So can you imagine talking to 1,009 people and all you hear is no and rejection? How many people would you talk to before you give up? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 50? Most people will actually give up after 10th no. Some even after the third no. So can you just imagine comparing to that 1,009 no's before he heard the first yes? And then the rest is history. He fried his chicken, right? So, think about that, and really how the failure is building you up to success. So, and yeah, it's just like negative emotions, what I was talking about, like hating someone with money. I mean, we can really create all these really horrible emotions to us, like hate, jealousy, envy. Well, I can't even think anymore. But anyway, we can really hate people with money, even though we don't know them, we don't know anything about them, how they created it, but just because of our beliefs that we have so sawed in ourselves from a young age. So like I said, change it and have a gratitude. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about, the usual saying that you hear so much that you probably adopt it and start using it yourself as well. And that's, I cannot afford it. And more you say this, more it's going to become reality, and more you will really not be able to afford anything in life. And this is something that I always stayed away from, instead of that, you need to ask yourself, how can I afford it? So when you do that, when you change it, just change that one word on how you can do something, how you can afford it. It doesn't matter what it is. It will start your mind will start creating new ideas, and you will be put in situations, and your intuition will start kicking in, and you will find ways how. But don't ever say that, get that thing out of your vocabulary. I cannot afford it, because you can. Just ask yourself, how can I afford it? Try this, it really works. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'm off to hopefully celebrate with some champagne today, but it's raining, so we'll see if that happens or not. But I hope you all have a great weekend. And like I said, if you wanted to talk more about, those limiting beliefs and the ways, techniques that you can change that, please message me. I would love to chat with you about that. And thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.